Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another video slash episode on this podcast slash YouTube channel. Welcome back. As of the day I'm recording this, it is October 22nd. It is October. Halloween is about a week away, and I'm feeling real good this October. Like, my body is feeling calm, my nervous system is feeling regulated, my mental health is so much better than it was last October, and even better than it was last October. Comment how you've personally been feeling this October because I want to know. Um, but I'm speaking on October 2023, October 2022, because last October, I did not think that I could ever feel as calm and perceivably normal as I feel this October. Like, it's crazy to me, the difference. And I remember at like one of my last therapy sessions, my therapy recommended something. She asked me, do I still be journaling a lot? I told her honestly, not as much as I should be since I started working a lot more. And she's like, well, you should get back into that. I would even recommend, how long have you been journaling again? And I was like, oh, I've been journaling since 2020, like pretty consistently. I probably have like 4 journals on deck. And she's like, okay, great. She was like, I would even recommend looking at the stuff you were writing a year ago today, 6 months ago. And this is something that I used to do very often. Like, I just used to peek, oh, how was I feeling in the beginning of this relationship? How was I feeling in the beginning of this job? And I'm like, I really have just like kind of pushed my journals to the back of my head lately. And I went and did that. And y'all, the things I was writing about last October, the October before this, when I was in my abusive relationships, like those pages literally bring me to tears. Cause I literally think about how, like, a lot of times we try to like downplay our trauma or downplay when things started, how we feel. And it's just like reading like the literal evidence of like such traumatic and hard times in my life and just like seeing like this is crazy. This is how I really felt, really like shook me to my core. It made me sad a little bit because I'm just like, I just want to give Alicia 2 years ago, Alicia 1 year ago, a big hug and be like, girl, you will feel better. It don't feel like it. It does not feel like it, but you will feel better. And if you've been journaling for a long time like me, I highly, highly recommend it. Today we are talking about dealing with trauma versary, y'all. It's our not not that traumaversary. I don't know if that's the word. It's probably a word I just made up. But I'm talking about dealing with like how hard it can be to process trauma in general or admit it and just really heal from it. But especially when things and triggers and time periods like line up, y'all. Last October was terrible for me. But to tell you about last October, I have to tell you about the October before that, October 2022. October 2022 is when I was in an abusive relationship, if you're not new to my videos. At that point in the relationship, it was only abusive emotionally, very heavy emotionally. Um, when I talk about my last relationship, I talk about dealing with sexual abuse. At that point, it was only like harassment, words, like being mad at me, stuff like that. But in October is when it took a turn to actual physical sexual abuse, like the first most prominent memory in my mind. I can't believe how long I've been on YouTube. If you guys have been here that long, you remember my psycho ex-boyfriend story time where I basically told this crazy story time about me and my ex and how it resulted in the first time that happened to me. I feel like when you think about and try to remember your trauma, you just remember oddly specific things, okay? At this point in my life, me and my ex started dating here in California, but he started going to school at ASU in Arizona. And I remember I was basically like visiting him for the Halloween weekend, to do the coupley things, dress up, watch movies, stuff like that. And I remember the first time I got assaulted, like, I remember we were watching some type of what's the word? Claymation, like Corpse Bride type movie. I remember we had watched two movies that weekend. We had watched Corpse Bride and also, I don't remember the name, but it's like a black claymation movie that Jordan Peele put together. And I'm like, I remember we watched those two movies. I don't remember specifically which one was on when it happened, but I just remember that. You know, I like remember things here and there, but I do remember those. And these oddly specific details are very like you have to note them for how I'm talking about this because I never thought anything of it. Not of like what happened to me. Let me slow down. Not of what happened to me, but like about those movies. But y'all, I remember, towards the end of September when people start bringing out on TikTok their cosplays, their costumes, and stuff like that. Like it's just like, yeah, I remember the first time it happened in October, like whatever. But y'all, when I started seeing clips of the Corpse Bride sounds on my For You page last October, like, I don't know why, when stuff like associated with those movies would come up, like my eyes would literally just start to fill with tears and I would just like scroll and not watch the video. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. That's when it all started to come back. I'm like, okay, I know it happened last October. I had just like actually acknowledged it within myself and told my family like a few months prior to that last October. Um, and I was just like, whoa. Like I was kind of trying to like fight this. Like, girl, why you scared of a TikTok? Like I was like, this is not that. Like I would just scroll, but I was also like, why? I was like, why is this so like scary or anxiety inducing to me? Like I was kind of like downplaying myself. And so when you're healing through these types of things, like you can choose a couple different routes. And I for sure chose avoidance. I was like scrolling every cosplay of this movie, scrolling every sound, like and I was like, I'll just okay, like if it makes me tear up, like I'll just never watch that movie again. And I was just again like this feeling just felt so foreign to me. I've never felt like this about anything else that happened in my life. I didn't feel comfortable talking to anybody. I'm like, what am I going to tell someone? I'm scared of seeing a movie. Like I was just like so like okay, whatever. I'll just avoid it. Like I just won't watch that movie every October anymore. And I don't know what it was, y'all, but something in me, like later towards the month, I was like, if I'm feeling so much anxiety and so much fear surrounding children's movies, that I literally enjoyed prior to these traumatic experiences, I was like, why don't I just watch it? I was like, why don't I just watch it? So I did. I watched the movie. It was weird. Like at first when I watched it, it was kind of like a holding my breath type moment, but then I watched it, I just paid attention to the story, like what everything's all about. And I was just like, okay, okay. After I watched that, I don't feel like scared I'm gonna see a tick like I don't feel my heart racing that I'm gonna see like a TikTok with this sound anymore. And then I remember like at the beginning of November, I felt like a few weeks after that, I felt more comfortable sharing this experience. I think this is the beginning of when I started sharing like some real stuff about like myself and my healing journey on my TikTok. And I just said how like I just decided to face my fear and like this, and I was like just telling other people I feel like you should celebrate things even if it like looks small on the outside, because that was like a huge deal for me to get over like my anxiety about like these weird triggers and connections. And I got so many sweet comments being like, you go girl, I love this, you're so strong. And I'm just like, oh. I was like, everyone was being so nice except for me. Like I was the one being like, girl, why you scared of a movie? Like, is it a and it just really made me think like, okay, all right. So that's what I did last October, y'all. And I felt so much better after that experience. When before like all that, I was having so many panic attacks, so many flashbacks. Well, I still had them. Let me not lie, I still had them after October, but it wasn't just like surrounding the October spooky season. My anxiety attacks didn't really calm down until I was in therapy for like 6 months. Um, but now I am here. I've been in therapy for like 9 months now. And yeah. And I was very honest with my therapist. I told her like last October was like I was like anxiety bouncing off the walls, panic attack, blah blah blah. And I told her why, and she was like, "That's completely normal." And I told her how I had like I honestly wasn't feeling like that much feelings about this October, but I was like, I'm kind of scared of having an October like that or stuff coming up again. And she was just like, well, just take it one day at a time. She's like, if it does, now you have grounding techniques and stuff like that. But if not, you know, and I can happily say this October, I really have not had one panic attack, I don't have fears of like those. I'm not really affected by those types of triggers anymore. Um, and I'm just like, wow. Because when you're in those moments where you're just so panicky and like you just feel so like, I remember like the first thing my therapist said when I started therapy is a lot of people with this type of trauma, their mind and body don't feel connected anymore. And let me tell you, that hit spot on. When I felt like that, I literally felt crazy. I felt crazy. I was like, why do I want to cry? Why is my heart racing? Why am I out of like I was like, oh, why can't I just be normal and go to work and feel calm? Like I said, y'all, the difference. Last like the October, 2 Octobers ago, when this all went down, like I said, I looked back in my journal, I reread that stuff, and I was like extremely depressed back then when I read like I remember writing after that weekend how I felt depressed, but again, I didn't register all that until like later. So I would just be like, I don't know, I just feel low. I just feel like this and that. And then fast forward to the October after that, I'm anxious all over the place. And then this October, I'm like, I just hope it's not something. And I'm like, where the camera's at? Because I actually feel sane. I'm just like, wow. But I feel like I feel that way because I took the steps needed to heal, but I took them on my time. And that's like really what I want to kind of close in this video about is whether your trauma is like similar to mine or different. I feel like dealing with trauma versaries, you have to like take little steps to like face your fears, but on your time. Don't let any of these people say you shouldn't still be hurt by that. You shouldn't blah blah. Blah. Because I'm like, if I told someone that and they were ignorant and they were like, just watch the movie, I probably wouldn't have took that well. But when I made the decision, like, you know what, I'm gonna just watch this movie alone by myself, take it all in, and I'm like, that actually really, really helped with my anxiety. Literally, as small as that might sound, because I watched a bunch of Halloween movies in October. I'm that girl, like, boyfriend or not, event or not, I always get in the spirit. As you can see, when I'm dressed up for YouTube, I watch a lot of movies alone. Like I've always been that person, and like watching a movie can just seem so small on the outside, but like people don't know the story behind it and like the strength that took me. Like triggers are so weird. Like I said, odd details really just like tie to how you feel. So I feel great this October, much better. I feel like this is honestly probably one of the calmest Octobers I've had since I like graduated high school. No, you know what? I think I was still trauma free freshman year of college. But I remember after that, I had a very mean boyfriend the year after freshman year. Then after that, I had a different abusive boyfriend. Then after that, I was dealing with the anxiety from that. And then now I'm here and I feel calm. And nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. I definitely still have my struggles, but I'm like, it's not really tied to that or like have as much power as I thought it might. So I feel much better. If you're someone who's having a shitty October, it's okay. Let it be terrible. Let it be terrible. I literally have like a series I want to start telling of like terrible holiday seasons I've had because also my past holiday seasons have been terrible. Like it is so hard when you feel depressed, when you feel sad, when you feel anxious during holiday season, because it's like, damn, that's the season where I just want to feel jolly and in the spirit, but it doesn't happen like that. I have a couple story times I want to tell about like some terrible Christmases and Thanksgivings I've had because your feelings are valid if you're not having a good time right now. Um, like the spirit can't always change everybody. We have real lives, we have real issues, we have real things that we go through. So your feelings are so valid, but from like, the background I just told you guys, my advice would just be take baby steps. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling triggered, take baby steps on your own time that are going to help you. Like, okay? And it's hard because I feel like I can't give a specific example because I don't know what everyone's going through. I feel like everything is very personal to you. What you think is a baby step to get past that or to face a fear, to face a trigger, like you know yourself best. So think about it and try it if you feel ready. If you don't, try it in a week. Try it in a month. You feel me? Also, talk about it with someone you feel safe with. Like I said, I did not do a very good job of talking about it with people 2 Octobers ago. Or no, last October. Sorry, last October. But I told like, I think a couple people post it, but don't be afraid. Everyone has some safe space, and not all safe spaces are the same. Some families are really ignorant. If it's not your family, get a friend. If it's not your friend, get maybe it's your partner. If it's like everybody has some type of safe space. Or if you want to share anything with me in the comments, you can. I respond to every single comment. Um, pretty much. So yeah. I'm not a therapist, I'm not any of these titles. I just truly speak from my experience as someone who is living and thriving post trauma, which I feel like, don't get me wrong, I feel like therapists and psychiatrists, all the information is really good to know, very helpful. I even like reading up on that stuff. That's a huge interest of mine. But sometimes like a lot of good can come from someone who actually knows the feeling. So that's all I'm trying to offer. So yeah, if you're dealing with an anxious October, a not happy October, valid. It's fine. I have not been happy so many Octobers in a row. This is the first one where I'm feeling okay. And that might be we might be on opposite spectrums. Maybe this is your shitty October. Maybe next October is gonna be great for you. Just hold on, take your baby steps, and just like validate yourself and feel your feelings. Okay? That's all I got. Thank you guys so much for listening to me yap it up again. I hope that I said something helpful. If you enjoyed videos like this, I have lots of other similar videos in my playlist called Yap Sessions. Or if you're listening on Spotify, just check out the rest of this podcast. You feel me? But if you are from YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel because I know you like what you heard if you made it this far. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.